Hello, everyone. Welcome to United and Everything Football. This is episode 20. This is a milestone episode. Thank you to you all who have joined us from episode 1 through to episode 20. But if today is your first time, always remember to hit what? The subscribe button and also hit the notification bell. We are so happy to have you on here, and we hope that you still can stay with us every single time we come your way. Manchester United were in action yesterday against Liverpool in the Premier League game that many people thought United were going to be whitewashed. In fact, many United fans, many United pundits, a lot of the people around the club, supporters and everyone, had very little belief that the club could go to Anfield and get the result that they got. Many people are saying, oh, why are you jubilating over 0-0 draw and everything? We know where we are. We know where we stand. So we take it like that. We take it and we run with it exactly. As usual, I'm here with Kwame and Chukwueze. Today we are looking together in our United home kits. Kwame, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Relieved.
I'm sure a lot of United fans around are all feeling relieved given the events that happened yesterday. Many people even felt that we could have, nipped it and find a way to, get a win. But some way, somehow, we just couldn't finish the clear-cut chances that we had from Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund. But we'll be getting into all of it. Kwame looks relieved. We are so happy to be here every single time to serve you the best of United and Everything Football. We are going for a quick break. When we come back, we delve straight into the game yesterday and any other issue that will be coming up. Stay tuned with us. Thank you very much for joining us on United and Everything Football. And you're welcome once again. If you are joining us, it's episode 20. It's a big milestone for us. We want to once again thank you so much for being with us throughout, the start of this beautiful podcast. We've designed it purposely for you to enjoy everything United. We come here, we have a chit chat about United. We bring on guests to discuss United and Everything Football as well. So thank you so much for joining. But Kwame, let me get to you. We found a way to get a draw at Anfield. Many people that watched the game, in the first half, it was a very, very difficult. Somehow, I couldn't watch the game because I was at an event, but I had time to watch it. But I was following commentary on social media, on Twitter, on WhatsApp groups, and the commentary wasn't so pleasing in the first half. I kept asking, are we surviving? Are we surviving? Clearly we're surviving. I don't know how we were surviving, but you watched the game. What do you make of it, watching the game live? I remember you said you won't be there, but you found yourself there. How did it go?
The truth is, I missed the first 30 minutes of the game. I did not watch the entire game.
Okay.
I was deliberating as to whether to watch the game or not to watch the game, but I was like, I checked on my phone. It was still no. After like 30 minutes, I was like, you know what? Maybe we might just get something. So let me just tune in. And it looked like we had, first of all, the selection. I think he went with Onana in goal, Dalot at right back, Varane at left centre back. We'll talk about
it. Yes.
And Evans at right centre back, Shaw at left back, Amrabat and Kobe Mainoo as a double pivot, another talking point.
Yes.
And McTominay. I think the reason why I didn't want to even watch from the beginning was McTominay was handed the captain's armband. And that even just puts me off. But then McTominay started in the Bruno role as a 10, behind Højlund and Anthony on the right, Garnacho on the left. That was the starting 11. It was pragmatic from the start. We set up differently. Many people have said about Erik ten Hag, especially in big games when things aren't going well for us, is why do we almost always seem to play the same way and then not play differently in such games in order to get results? Considering the fact that we're handicapped heavily because of injuries and suspensions and other things.
Yeah.
We had to set up differently in order to get a totally different result from what we did get at Anfield last year. And yeah, we grounded out one. Tough to break down, very defensive, yet we did get opportunities on the break. The clearest opportunities in the game did fall to us. Liverpool literally just halved and puffed throughout the game. Loads of shots. But then, aside Trent's shots going just by the post, I don't think they opened us up or created any clear-cut opportunities. Salah was quiet for most parts. Luke Shaw had him in his pocket.
Yes.
It was a good, dogged, very dogged display. And we'll take the points. I mean, some people have said we are pleased with the point and we're too defensive. You know, you've read about Van Dijk's comments.
Yes.
You've also read about Roy Keane's response
to that. Yes.
We are old enough to have seen even the best United sides go to Anfield and be very, very, very dogged and stubborn in order to get results. It wasn't always a case where we just went to Anfield and took the game to them. Even when Liverpool weren't at their strongest, Anfield was always a difficult place to go for our best teams.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a game we could have won, but I don't think there was any fan who is complaining about getting a point from Anfield.
All right. So we have a lot of talking points or things that we would highlight. I mean, with respect to issues that happened in the game. One key thing has to do with Erik ten Hag's famous Rafael Varane can't play at left centre back. It all started when United played against Manchester City, where he was asked why Rafael Varane was not allowed to play in that game because he had opted to go with Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, and he made that famous comment. And in the last two games that Varane has played alongside Johnny Evans, I mean, Varane has had to play at left centre back. I mean, it creates that whole thing that we keep saying about Ten Hag. I mean, he looked a bit confused about a lot of things that he himself is doing. I mean, he says one thing and does another thing, and tried to sell McTominay. Now McTominay has gotten into the team to the extent that he's given the captain's armband. I mean, I simply cannot put a hand exactly to what he's doing with regards to some of these decisions that he's making, and actually making one statement that contradicts the other at the end of it. What do you make of all of these Varane can't play left centre back thing and all of that, given the performance he put in yesterday?
That was the man of the match performance. It's the mark of a seasoned professional, a winner, somebody who can shut down the noise, get onto the football pitch, lead his team from the back. And then he was largely responsible for the kind of results, the kind of performance the whole team puts up and the result that we got. On Erik ten Hag saying the things he said about Varane, it reeks of a manager who clearly has an agenda against the player. I'm going to put it that way. There's no better way to put it. In the past few weeks, we've gotten to know about Rafa Varane's actual contract situation.
Yes.
When he did sign for the club, we were told that he would have had a year in addition to this season left on his contract. But it's been revealed by very good sources that he actually just has 6 months left on his contract, and that if he's to stay beyond that, we would have to trigger a 1 year extension in his contract.
Yes.
It shows that from next month, Rafa Varane, if we do not extend his contract, can speak to other clubs and could actually leave on a free. Or by Bosman ruling or whatever.
Yes.
So I think Ten Hag is looking to United after Rafa Varane. Rather than play a player who doesn't have a future at the club. It sounds a bit cynical because I personally do not see why Rafa Varane should be treated that way. A player who has won 4 Champions Leagues, a World Cup winner, so much experience under his belt, and did not necessarily have to leave Real Madrid to join us.
Exactly.
The only knockdown I'll have for Rafa Varane is he has not always stayed
Been
fit.
yes.
But we've seen cases this season where he's fit
Yeah.
and he's been put on the bench,
Mm-hmm.
and excuses such as tactical reasons have been
Yeah.
made as to
Yeah.
why he's sitting on the bench.
Okay.
Rafa Varane played left centre back,
Mm-hmm.
not right centre back, and he
Mm-hmm.
played it so well, so ably. So it's just excuses, in my opinion. He just wants the boy out. He just wants him to be replaced.
But one performance that really and was very much encouraging was the performance by Kobbie Mainoo at Anfield, a very difficult ground, a very hostile ground actually. For a player of his age, I mean, he was the most composed player we had on the pitch on the day. Was not fazed by any pressure, would handle the ball, would give very good passes. I mean, he's a press resistant as we describe such players. I mean, what do you make of his performance and where do you see him? I mean, in the scheme of things going into the rest of the season.
There's this saying, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yes, yes.
And he's definitely good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You may say he doesn't have the experience yet, but then
Yeah.
what he showed over the weekend is a player with immense potential.
Yeah.
To go to Anfield and hold his own, right? In the absence of key players in the position that he played in was awesome. It was a delight to see. Being Manchester born and bred as well.
Yeah.
It's rare to see players thrown into the deep at such an age in such a game, and then produce what he did produce on the day. The sky is the limit for Kobbie Mainoo. He was exceptional on the day. I see him as someone who can ably play alongside Casemiro when everybody is fit.
Yeah.
And that would sort of give us better balance in the middle of the park. See, we've all spoken against this single six thing. We are not ready for that yet.
Yes.
We are not ready. If we are going to have a balanced midfield, Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes works for me. It makes you question where does Mason Mount factor in all of this?
Yeah.
And where does the coach's new favorite, McTominay,
the coach's Malam goal experts? I mean, he's just in for the Malam goal.
The guy saved his job, and then he hasn't been dropped since, to the extent that now he captains Manchester United ahead of players like Varane, Shaw, and come on, it's not right. It's not right. Hopefully, when everybody is fit, the quality players in our midfield are fit again. I hope he just stops this whole McTominay.
Well, the players,
especially even going into the weekend, as early as this weekend, it should stop.
I mean, I was telling you guys on other platforms that we found ourselves that, I mean, you guys should just make peace with the fact that Scott McTominay is just going to be featuring for Ten Hag as long as he wants. You see the description he gives him. He says that he epitomizes the qualities of a United player. I mean, he's not talking about footballing abilities. He's just ignored the footballing abilities bit and talks about the character, the spirit, the personality, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's things the passion, the things that we talk about when we refer to players who play for Manchester United or a club at that level. I mean, it's not just ability. You should have players who have desire and other things. Scott McTominay has all of these things in abundance. But in terms of ability, I don't know. I don't know which category. I mean, he's a poor passer. It's clear. He can't make very intelligent passes that you'd expect of a midfielder for a club like Manchester United. Safe passes. I mean, I've seen him track back many times and it takes him a lot of time. I mean, you simply do not understand why Ten Hag plays Scott McTominay ahead of Bruno Fernandes. I mean, Bruno has to play a bit deeper for Scott McTominay. One thing Ten Hag always forgets, I would remind him, he should go and check Bruno's second season at Manchester United. where he played as a number 10 in an advanced role where he was creating and scoring. Bruno had 28 goals in that season. It's clear. I mean, it's there. It's a player that. So if you are looking for a scorer or someone who have done it before, if your strikers or your attackers aren't giving you goals, if you're a player that is the player you are looking out for, you should look at Bruno Fernandes. He's the one you should be sharpening to be able to, because he has everything. I mean, the eye for passes, quality passes in the final third, the eye for goal and all of that, arriving in the box, shooting from outside of the box. I mean, he's got everything that you'd want. I don't know why the coach persists on playing Scott McTominay, but I've made peace with the fact that he's now number 1 on the team sheet anytime Ten Hag is making a selection. And
Kwame,
yes, Kwame, let me hear you.
There are fans who said we were just more disciplined because Bruno Fernandes did not play, and that was a blessing in disguise. I do not entirely agree with that. I'd say I do agree that it may have factored into how we selected the team rather than how we played, because how we played is the responsibility of the coach.
Yeah.
This coach would put Bruno Fernandes, like you said, Bruno Fernandes in a deeper position because he wants him to be able to help with building up the play.
Yeah.
And place Scott McTominay in an advanced position. If Bruno was available, he may not have started Kobbie Mainoo. He may have started Bruno in that deep position, which would have left us more vulnerable defensively.
Exactly.
But the truth of the matter is, why are you playing Scott McTominay in that advanced position instead of Bruno Fernandes?
The answer is simple.
That's on the coach.
Malam goes.
That's on the coach. You do not play, but you do not sacrifice one of your most potent attacking players for somebody like Scott McTominay, and then leave Bruno in a position where his flaws of trying to create chances are exposed, because he tries stuff. He tries a lot of stuff from that deep position.
Exactly.
In an advanced position, when you do lose the ball in those positions, it doesn't hurt you as much as when you do lose the ball in a deeper position, leaving your team open to transitions.
Exactly.
So it's not Bruno's fault. It's the coach's fault with how he often sets up our midfield.
Exactly.
So in as much as it was a blessing in disguise, this whole problem has been created by Erik ten Hag himself, of which he should resolve. If players are fit, Kobbie Mainoo and Amrabat, or Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro, it's a better midfield pairing than pushing Bruno Fernandes into that deeper role.
Now we have Eriksen also coming back. A very positive one. I mean, news coming out indicates that a lot of players are on their way back. In the next 4 weeks, we should be having, that's if we don't lose a lot more players through injuries, given that we are playing less games actually. For the rest of the season, we just have the league games and the FA Cup games. Provided we advance, we'll be playing less games. So we hope that our injury situation improves and gets better, so we find ourselves in a better situation. So Eriksen is back in action. Is back in contention for selection in the next couple of games, and we'll be having a lot more players coming back as well. So we'll be looking forward to that. I feel it's a lot more positive. But the question I want to ask is, where does this draw in Liverpool leave us? Where does it leave us? I mean, we didn't lose the game. We have other games to come. We have West Ham, informed Aston Villa, and then the second round starts with Nottingham Forest before the year closes. Where does this leave us? Do we still have the hope
of a top 4 place?
Yeah.
That's the only thing we're fighting for, basically. And then I think we have the FA Cup which starts next month against Wigan.
Yes,
so it's one cup competition and the top 4 place to fight for. We got a clean sheet against Liverpool. That's a positive. I think of all the things Onana has done wrong in the Champions League, he's done very little wrong in the Premier League. I think he has 6 clean sheets.
Yeah.
He has a very good save percentage. He's playing well in the Premier League.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like, how do you play so well last season's Champions League and you play so badly this season's Champions League, and you're okay in a league that you've never played in? It's
A loss
sacrifice
doesn't make
Manchester
sense.
United
A
in this.
loss doesn't make sense at this club. I mean,
Nothing makes sense.
yeah,
I mean, we're the first team to go to Anfield and keep a clean sheet. First team to get a point from Anfield this season.
yes,
This
yes,
Manchester United team in
exactly,
this state.
exactly.
It's just a weird, awkward season. But what this does for us is it was a point. The
Yeah.
problem is we did not concede, but
Mm-hmm.
we did not score.
Yeah.
We are still having issues
Mm-hmm.
scoring goals. Højlund hasn't scored a Premier League game a goal in 12
It
or
has
is it
5
14
goals in the
seasons. I've even
Champions League.
lost. I've even lost and has 5 goals in the Champions League. Top
How do you make
top
this
goal
up?
scorer in the Champions
How do you make this up?
and can't buy a Premier League goal. He had a good, clear opportunity to win it, do a Diego Forlan, and wasn't able to do it. You're asking yourself, when is he going to score? We have 2 more games to end the first round, I think. West Ham and then Aston Villa. We've won 9 Premier League games. We need to win at least 10 Premier League games in this tumultuous first round that we've had. At least 10 games and a couple of draws. I take it. What that does for us going into the new year, starting with game against Forest, is that it should be act like a fresh start for the team. You know, like the second round should be taken as a fresh start. We've got 19 Premier League games and a few cup games, a lot of rest time in between, as many as a week, 2 weeks breaks in some occasions. We should take advantage of that. Players seem to be coming back. Let's just go full throttle, right? Win about 13 out of the 19 games in the second round. And I think that gets us a Champions League spot. 70 points should get us a Champions League spot. And give it everything in the cup and see where the season goes.
Anyway, so let's just take a quick look into January. I mean, there is news that we are likely to make some acquisitions and some signings. I mean, some players are also scheduled to, leave at some point. Jadon Sancho, we are hearing the club would do everything possible to, see his back. I mean, either go on loan or try an outright sale, but there's an obstacle of his wages. I mean, the problem United has encountered every single time they would like to offload players because they are on very high wages. The people were mentioning Casemiro, Varane, and other things. I personally believe those players are not leaving, but it look like players like Anthony Martial, because the club is looking at, getting Martial is in the last 6 months of his contract. And news is that the club do not want to trigger the 1 year extension clause that they have.
It makes you wonder whether he's actually injured for real or not.
I think he's injured. I really, really think he's injured. I mean, it's Martial. Sorry to say, after all the shaking he showed us last season, it's Martial.
He's doing it all over again.
He's doing it all over again. I mean, he's been very underwhelming over the last couple of years at the club, and I feel it's good decision for the club to move him on. I mean, he came with a bag of potential, dropped at some point for, how do you call it, GC numbers and other issues. I mean, he's just not kicked on after a lot of things. So I feel it's time for him to go. If you asked about 100% of United fans, I'm sure 101% would want to see Martial.
We're done with him.
Everybody would like to see Martial go and all of that. So it's one area that we are also looking at. But in terms of incomings, it looks like the club would like to bolster with another central defender. I mean, in the summer, we're looking at moving Harry Maguire on and then bringing in another player. Players like Benjamin Pavard all came into the picture. Jean-Claude Todibo at OGC Nice is one name that has been, is being floated around. That is likely to join the club and all of that. So there are a couple of names out there. I mean, it's important. Given the Ineos deal that is also in the pipeline, you would wonder exactly what's going to happen in the transfer market as to whether the things that is being said in the media is anything to go right home about or anything to talk about and all of that. Kwame, what do you make of all of these, the transfers? What are your expectations? Personally, I'm not expecting an incoming. Given the issue that is currently at hand. with Ineos coming in and then trying to set up its structures before it goes into the summer to make its own acquisitions and all of that.
Historically, January is not a window that we do business. We don't do business in January very often. On the rare occasions where we do sign players like Bruno and all those kind of things, it's because we probably left it hanging in the summer and then we kind of have to complete it in January, or there's an emergency loan that we have to do because of. But then that's not. I don't see that to be the situation now. We have a huge squad, right, and we have less games now because we are out of a couple of huge competitions. We would, and we have players coming back from injury. The timing is also part. We have players who are coming back from injury. We are looking at a season where things are not going so well. So one would say we would probably have to start planning for the future. That is the summer, rather than invest so much in January. But mind you, we still do have FFP issues hanging around our neck. And then on top of that, we have the whole 25% Sir Jim Ratcliffe thing still hanging. So you ask yourself, where's the money going to come from, or who's going to spend the money? All those kind of questions. The one thing that's clear, as Fabrizio talked about today, I think on one of his podcasts, is that we do seem to be targeting a centre back. It also gives credence to how people see a lot in what is happening between the manager and Rafa Varane, considering his contract situation and everything. If an offer did come in for Varane, you do see us actually selling. I am of the opinion that if a very good offer does come, we would sell it. Although it's clear to me that the player himself doesn't have any interest in leaving. If an offer does come from Saudi Arabia or somewhere else, we'll probably sell and reinvest that money in an obvious target. It's obvious because of Sir Jimmy Ratcliffe's association with Nice and Manchester United. Todibo would be an obvious name that would come up as a replacement for him. Donny has already left. For me, the worst signing in the past decade, Donny van der Beek, offered
absolutely nothing. He added nothing.
He's already gone. And Anthony Martial is not going to be given an extension if an offer does come for him. I don't even mind us selling him without replacing, and rather sign a proper number 9 in the summer. But maybe the club may want to do a loan deal for a forward or a striker to be able to supplement what we have, considering the fact that Jadon Sancho himself seems to will be leaving Manchester United very, very soon. Sancho has reached the point of no return. If he is to return to the club, it's an indictment on the manager and the club itself. For a player who simply had to apologize and be reinstated into the team, it speaks to a very bad culture at the club if we are to bring him back under any circumstance. So, good riddance. He didn't do much in 2-3 years. And if he leaves so that we can have enough room on our wage bill and everything to be able to replace him, then so be it. January, Kwame, like you said, January is January. Nothing is going to win.
All right. Thank you so much, Kwame. Thank you to you who joined us on this beautiful podcast. We are bringing it to an end. We are not looking so happy or so down, but we are a bit more cheerful this time around because we didn't lose to our bitter rivals, Liverpool. I mean, we did what we could to get results at Anfield, and we'll see as to whether we have enough in our tank to kick on, given the limited number of games we have coming up. And I mean, players returning from injury. We hope we do not get any fresh injuries. We'll be coming your way in the course of this week with another guest. We'll be discussing the game against West Ham and all the other games that will be coming up. We are so grateful for your time with us. Always, as usual, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We are always here for you. Please remember to drop a comment in the comment section and also like and share with your friends so that they can also join this beautiful podcast. We are grateful to you for joining us. Have a great time and enjoy yourselves. We see you some other time.